Coming up next is Brother Moses Egidi on the topic Spiritual Preparation for Jehovah's Day.
If we even heard from God in the first place, these are the times to labor to hold on to your conviction. Do we understand that? Let me give an example from scriptures. Mary and Martha, when Lazarus was sick, they prayed. Am I correct? And God answered. God answered and gave them the answer. What was the answer? This sickness is not unto death. That was the answer. They got an answer. They sent to the Lord Jesus Christ. No, it was Christ that told them. No. Let's go back. John 11, right? John 11:4. And when Jesus, let's read, let's go. He answered their prayers. So if I see this, what do I now believe? That what? He will not die, isn't it? So in other words, they prayed and he heard and he answered. It wasn't that he no answer. He answered. Right? And he told them what? Maybe they prayed after the idol of their heart. They say, well, if you come to me according to the idol of your heart. Was that what happened? You sure? That they came after the idol of their hearts. And so God answered them after the idol of their hearts. Is that what happened? No. They asked, he answered. He didn't tell them the time frame. He just said this sickness is not unto death. But he died. And for 4 days, do you know what they went through for 4 days? Do you know if we were the ones who had that, what we'll be going through? No, put yourself in their position. Didn't I hear from God? Didn't I hear from God? I heard. I know the way God speaks to me. I know the way. But for 4 days, Christ was on his way. But they didn't know that. We know that because we are reading it, isn't it? But just imagine day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. The anguish, the self-doubt. They would have gone, all that they would have gone through. Praise the name of the Lord. And then one day the Lord just say, come, oh yeah, let's go. The time is now at hand. This is the right time to answer their prayers. Praise the name of the Lord. The process might not be what you want or how you want it. But know this, his purpose never fails. His purpose will never fail. The process might not be how you want it. The process might not be how you think it. The process might not be how you have planned it. The process might not be how you envisage it to be. But know this. His purpose will what? Never fail. It says the vision is for what? An appointed time. Though it tarries, wait. That wait is the work. That wait is what? Is the work. Because it is a process. And you have no control over that process. Or the timing of that process. God gave promise to Abraham in Genesis chapter 12. It says, I will make you what? When did God finally answer that prayer? When? How many years in between? 6, 5? No way. Ishmael was 13 years. Ishmael was 13 years when God spoke to Abraham, said, walk before me and be blameless. How many years before Ishmael was born? How old was Abraham when God called him? How old was Abraham when he gave birth to Isaac? 100 years. 25 years. That's what you said. I thought you said 5 years. I'm sorry. Beautiful. 25 years of waiting. 25 years. 25 years of waiting. Only. Only. 25 years only. 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 Israel was in Egypt for 400 and what? 30 years. For those 430 years, were they not crying to God? Were they not crying to God? He said for their cry. Come on. They were crying to God for 400 and every generation. Just imagine, 4 generations. Let's assume that 100 years is a generation. Huh? Okay? Just imagine. They kept crying. They knew what God told Abraham. They knew. That was passed down. And they kept crying and crying for redemption. It got to 400 years. They were now thinking, yeah, the time has come. Because he said 400 years. That's what he told Abraham. 400 years. But God added another word. 30 years. He's God. He's God. Added another 30 years. But somebody once said that extra 30 years was due to Moses' actions. For Moses was, how old was Moses when he left Egypt? 40 years. And he spent another 40 years before coming back. So that 40 extra 30 years, God was dealing with Moses. So if Moses had not been impetuous, had not been brash, and you understand? So he said, don't blame God, blame Moses. Don't blame God, blame Moses. That if Moses had done his bit and followed the plan, Israel would have left in 400 years. But since he knew of the prophecy, and he knew that 400 years had come, so he jumped out. Who else would deliver him but me? I'm properly placed to do so. Okay? And of course, his parents, his mother would have filled his head with all that prophecy. And so, he was a mighty man in deed and in words. He decided he was going to help and say, you have just messed up our plans. This is not the person I want now. So he kicked him out. And for that 40 years, he worked on him. And then he sent him back. That might be true. That might be just mere assumption. It is, we have a way of doing these things to create a lesson out of anything, and all. Yeah, so, okay. God, known unto God from the beginning. So he knew they were going to be there for 430 years. And he planned for them to be there. He might not have told Abraham that, but God knew they were going to be there for what? 400. Just as I didn't tell Abraham, this promise I'm giving you, you're going to take 25 years. It's going to take 25 years. Maybe if he had done that, Abraham would have been calmly, at least he told me 25 years. So, but he never mentioned it to Abraham. And so Abraham kept believing God. And the Bible says it was accounted to him for what? Believing is a work. You must strive. There are times things will be pushing you in different directions. Things are not working. Paul said we were perplexed. What will make a man perplexed? He said we were perplexed. Things, God will speak. You have a sure word. But your situation and circumstances is going contrary to the word you have gotten from God. Apostle Paul himself said, we were what? perplexed, but we chose not to despair. He chose. In other words, what was happening to him was enough to what cause despair. So it was not an easy matter at all. He said, 3 times I prayed the Lord. He said, a thorn was given to buffet me. And he cried for deliverance. 3 times. Is that what he said? 3 times. What did God now tell him? You are delivered from it in Jesus' name. What did he say? It is work. Labor to believe. One of the building blocks of Zion is the people who believe. You must labor to believe. Do not be led by circumstances and situations. Do not be led by how you feel. The enemy will try to do all that, even what you see and experience. We believe in divine health. Am I correct? We preach it every day. But do we not still fall sick? There are some of us who can't even fast because they are on drugs, such hard drugs, that strong drugs that will not allow them. And if they cease from those drugs, we'll be praying for them. They will now become the prayer point. And so they advise themselves, please, let me stay on those drugs. And that is okay. But such a person, how will the person be feeling when you talk about divine health and immortality? Immortality, but people die amongst us. A sister sent me this and said, this is the work of the enemy. Somebody just died lately and he was saying, this is the lie of the enemy, making us to doubt the things that we believe. And I said, then we must walk. We must walk to believe what we believe. It's a conscious decision you take. Conscious decision. Labor to enter into rest. For belief is rest. Labor to enter into rest. So the people that the Lord is raising now, they are people who believe. God can't work with unbelievers. And the most dangerous kind of unbelievers are the unbelieving believers. They're the most dangerous type. The unbelieving believers. Because they claim to believe. They claim to believe. They make all the right confessions. But when push comes to shove, their belief is not able to get them through. It says having a form of godliness, but doing what? There's no power. You live a normal life. That has been a pain in my heart. I don't want to live a normal life. I don't want to be held hostage by my circumstances and my situation. I look at the life. Some days, I was talking to Sister Joy in the car. We're looking at the apostles and the life they lived. For us, it's a mere dream. They had no limitations. It's not a case of I want to go out and the rain is falling, I can't go out. It would not have happened to Apostle Paul or Peter or any of them. It would not have happened. Oh, I can't go out, the rain is falling. So I needed to be somewhere so soon, but I can't, the rain is falling. No, that rain will stop. Nothing limited them. Nothing limited Christ. Not the elements, it was raining, it was stormy, so. He comes and look at my hey, storm, be peaceful. End of story. Be peaceful. Oh, you need to pay tax? Okay. He decided to show off. He could as well go to Judas and say, Judas, right? Judas had the purse. Am I correct? But to show his is lack of limit. Is that a good word? Am I correct? Limitlessness. To show that he had 1,000 ways to meet your needs. He said, go and fish. I mean, check that out. What has fish got to do with money? He didn't say, because he told the disciples, go and prepare the upper room. You will meet so and so. Tell the person. Right? Tell the person. He could have said, go to so and so. Tell the person to give you. Am I correct? You had Susan, you had all the women who ministered to him. He could have gotten, please tell the wife or so and so money. But to show that he could use any means whatsoever. You could not jacket him. You could not pin him down. He said, go and catch a fish. Catch the fish. Open the mouth of the first fish you catch. Open it. You will see money. And it will be enough to pay your tax and mine. So go. No. How do you think Peter will feel after that experience? Huh? So when you see them in Acts of the Apostle, operating the level they operated, they had experienced it. He said, the things that we have touched, we have seen of the words of life. That is what we declare unto you. He was talking from experience. They have seen the supernatural. They have seen a man who walked in that life, the limitless life. There are times I face so much financial stress and I'm asking myself, hey, what's happening to me? I'm telling you. Why can't I do that? Why? I must work on my belief system. I must work on my beliefs. Sometimes we are limited by our past experience. Most times, so we limit the ways by which God will answer us. Mindset. So we have made God too small in our eyes. Man is held, there's something I always say, man is held in bondage by the tyranny of the familiar. It is what you know that determines how you act and how you react. We must be limitless in our belief, in our thinking. When we say think out of the box, for a Christian, it is a requirement. When you are dealing with God, you need to think out of the box. When you are dealing with God, you need to think out of the box. I have made you too small in my eyes. Oh Lord, forgive me. It's a very vital prayer that we must pray at this time. We have made God look so normal. We have made God look so what? Normal. Because people don't see God, they see us. If somebody oppresses you in the office and gets away with it, how about? There's no repercussion. No. What do you think he will do it again? He will do it to another Christian now. But there's a Christian he will do it to. His fingers will be burnt. Am I correct? We must seek the supernatural. We must be supernatural in our everyday life. We must be supernatural in our everyday life. We must be supernatural in our everyday life. God is building again the tabernacle of David. In the tabernacle of David, what did we have? It was just the ark. Am I correct? It was just the ark. That's the church in operation. They call the tabernacle of David the church in operation. The tabernacle of Moses, the church in preparation. It was just the ark with the Shekinah glory. That was all that was in the tabernacle of David. Power, the presence of God, and the accompanying power must be restored to us again. I cannot say I carry God, and yet, I am still subject to the elemental and beggarly spirits of this world. Something is wrong. That has been my prayer. My life must match my confession. My life must match my confession. I must be what I confess. I must be what I confess. If I'm a son of God, I must be a son of God. I must be. There must be power for holy living. There must be power for supernatural living. We must be different. We must be distinct. I am building again the tabernacle of David. You are the builders of waste places, of ruins of many generations. It must start with us. It must start with me. 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 Oh Lord, build up again my waste places. Build up again my waste places. It is important that we realize this. That is the preamble. We look at the book of Nehemiah. Nehemiah was a builder. In our study of spiritual preparation for Jehovah's Day, building again the gates of Zion, we'll be studying the book of Nehemiah, particularly Nehemiah chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. It will not be today. It will be another time. Because we are fast. Our time is fast closing out. But I want us to look at the man Nehemiah. I titled this The Character of the Builder of the Gates in Jehovah's Day. Nehemiah, the character of the builder of the gates. Remember, we've been looking at building the gates in preparation for Jehovah's Day. So we'll look at the man. We'll just list out 10 things and then we'll round up.